Looking here at a scene, and in fact scenes, from Judas and the Black Messiah. It's a movie available on demand right now. Set in the late 1960s, of course, the backdrop, the U.S. Civil Rights Movement. And that is the movie that Eli is here to talk about with us this morning. This is almost like a real Friday movie review. This is so exciting, Eli, that we have this to talk about, and a good one from what I'm hearing. But I'm anxious to know your thoughts on Judas and the Black Messiah. Where does the story begin? I mentioned it's in 1960s civil rights backdrop.
Exactly. 68 in Chicago. The civil rights movement is growing stronger every day, as is, in this story, the Black Panther Party and the FBI leader, J. Edgar Hoover, as played by Martin Sheen, almost unrecognizable under a lot of makeup. Well, he has designated the Illinois leader of the Black Panthers, the deputy chairman, Fred Hampton, as public enemy #1. But as you can see, lucky for them, into their hands falls this small-time hustler played by Lakeith Stanfield, Bill O'Neill, who's a car thief, but he's been charged with impersonating an FBI agent. Let's take a look.
The Black Panthers are the single greatest threat to our national security. Our counterintelligence program must prevent the rise of a Black Messiah.
You're looking at 18 months for the stolen car, 5 years for impersonating a federal officer, or you can go home.
That's Jesse Plemons there as the handler, and it's not much of a choice. And so the FBI get their man. They now have a mole, an informant, working inside the organization. At the beginning, Bill O'Neill is more worried about himself than the cause. The FBI are paying him quite nicely. He's got a car, he's got some flashy clothes, and he's not really interested in what the Panthers are pushing. But then he falls under the sway of Fred Hampton, as played by Daniel Kaluuya. Now, you might have seen him in Get Out. You might have seen him in Widows, the Black Panther Marvel movie. This is an actor who just is magnetic. He can transfix you with a single look, and Hampton is the role of a lifetime. I mean, yes, the Black Panthers are Marxists and socialists and militant, and they are armed, but in some ways their most dangerous weapon is Hampton. He is charming, he is savvy, he has the preacher's knack for whipping up the room, for making you a believer, and he's recruiting more soldiers to the cause every day. Let's take a look at him in action.
You can murder a liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder a revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom.
That is why people are talking about an Oscar nomination for Daniel Kaluuya. But there's another side to this character, the guy who is working on breakfast programs, who's building a rainbow coalition with Latino gangs, with white gangs. That is the man that his girlfriend, Deborah, a poet, sees.
Like the masses, I was in awe when I first laid eyes on all the things you are. I heard that speech. I knew we'd make noise. I just thought it'd be in the streets.
It's Dominique Fishback. She is a bit of a revelation as a woman who sees the man behind the myth and is quite worried about the collateral damage to come.
When you talk about movies, when we have talked about movies, Eli, based on real-life events, mixed results. But as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking you think this one is a success.
It is, and I think one of the reasons is that the director, Shaka King, really embraces the complexity. But, you know, it's interesting in that technically Lakeith Stanfield as Bill, the informant, he is the leading man. That is the main character. But this movie, Black Judas, does a better job of fleshing out Fred Hampton. For Fred, we see his drive, his effortless way of reading and leading people, and also a sense of his insecurities. But Bill, for all his screen time, is a cipher. You get a sense that he's seduced by the lifestyle that the FBI are enabling, but he did become the Black Panther security chief. I don't know at the end still if he was a true believer, and I wonder if Lakeith has made up his mind. But regardless, this is a gritty slice of old-fashioned filmmaking, bringing to mind 1970s classics like Serpico. Bill is a riddle, but what Kaluuya gives us, you can't help but wonder at what was lost. Struck down at the age of 21, 4 stars out of 5.
4 stars. I was expecting that. I know you well enough. I thought that was in the 4-star realm. Listen, before you go, and thank you for that, tell me about something that we can see as of today, free on CBC Gem. It's something called 21 Black Futures, Eli.
This is a really interesting experiment where an artistic director of the Obsidian Theater contacted Black playwrights and directors and actors. And coming out of the Black Lives Matter protests, she wanted to find a way to imagine a future. What is the future of Blackness? This is the result, which is a hybrid because it's theater and film together. 21 shorts imagining different slices of that future, everything from satirical to dystopian and certainly emotional and powerful. And you can watch it all right now on CBC Gem. I'd suggest starting with Death News or Sensitivity, 2 great shorts to start with.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for all of that recommendation. Eli Glasner this morning.